I've just come from a stream where people are wondering how offended they would be if they were called the N word. And someone said, if I were a midget, would you be more offended to be called a midget than to be called black? I suppose he meant if he was both black and a midget. And I thought, I didn't actually manage to get on the stream, so that's why I'm here. Why are we asking ourselves these idiotic questions? Whether we are or aren't offended is beside the point. Our opinions on these matters do not matter. Our feelings do not matter in the greater scheme of things. So should we wonder if we're offended or not, or whether we should be? If somebody says something rude to us, we have an option to be offended or not be offended. So the rational choice would be to choose not to be offended and not be expending all that unnecessary emotional energy and getting angry, upset, vengeful, or at all hot under the collar of the insult, whatever it is. So I think we can all agree that if somebody wanted to hurt our feelings, there are many ways of doing it, and it doesn't always mean being called a bad name. It could be, well, it could be done in so many different ways. You could be praising something about someone that they hate. Basically, I'm saying if you wanted to be offensive, there's many more ways to do it than to call them a bad name. So Stephen James asked me if it would make me feel better to say the word. I will share an experience with you, which is that on Facebook some years ago, I saw this woman whom I knew to be black, and she was using it a lot. And I got annoyed because I thought, well, I can't use a word, but you can. How dare you? How dare you assert racial privilege over me? And I was ashamed to say it. I reported her because I thought it was an assertion. It's like, well, if non-black people can't say it, why should black people say it? And I don't know if it happened or not, I don't know if it was actioned or not. And I suppose I still feel guilty about it even now because, it was, well, I didn't have to report her. She as a black woman could use it. But then I thought, well, non-black people couldn't report it, and so she had no business saying it. And I mean, why are we even talking about it? It's so ridiculous, really. So what if it's a racial slur? People use racial slurs in order to offend people. I mean, they could say you're fat, but they choose to mention your race. So should you be more or less offended by the use of racial slur? Maybe a more precise and hurtful thing could be said about you that has nothing to do with your race. I mean, after all, we sort of know that we can't, we can't help being whatever race we are. We couldn't help, whatever religion our parents were. But if somebody called us fat, and women will know this, will be very hurt. So I guess But then, somebody who doesn't want to be stupid might get very offended to be called stupid. So stupid people don't want to be called stupid, but stupidity is not a protected characteristic. Well, many other things are, such as being Jewish or Muslim or having or being gay, etc. So I think these identitarian issues are to do with a sense of injustice of, well, this person who calls himself, whatever, has a higher status than me, and they should have a higher status than me. I think fundamentally this is what it's about. I'm not really offended by the, ch word. Um, but then I suppose I'm at normal in the sense that, I mean, I was going to say, because I'm used to the rough and tumble of political discourse online, I don't get easily offended. But then I suppose sometimes I do feel flashes of temper. I mean, I'm not immune to feeling anger, but it soon passes. So, what is this about? What I'm saying is that this idea of banning certain words is just a new form of blasphemy. So, if we're going to have blasphemy laws, then really we should just be saying we shouldn't say these things, that God would be offended if he exists. So, let's just stick to that. Or we will find that um, we will be wondering whether to be more offended to be called fat or to be called black. And then this reminds me of this footballer who was called an effing black C. So we're all offensive, right? So really, um, the ridiculous position is that um, effing black C, the swear words were not offensive as the B word. So we're tying ourselves up in knots over which word to get offended about. And I'm saying, either these words of abuse are allowed on the football field or they're not. And we want the rules to be clear. I mean, it could be no, what are we going to say? Hurtful words. But imagine a man saying, somebody said hurtful words to me. It's just ridiculous. So men wouldn't get away with it at all. But women would, I suppose, if they cried, and then, the men would come to their defense in a white knighting kind of way. I used to get very offended about the things my mother said to me, and I think because of um, my interest and activity in politics, um, she's just no longer able to trigger me as much as she used to. So that has done me some good. This involvement in online politics. So we obviously shouldn't be okay under secular Quranism. It would be okay to use these words, right? It would be fine. If you're going to be rude to somebody, the worst things and to call them, rude names about their race. Maybe if you could think of some more personal thing to say about them, that would hurt them more than, saying rude things about their race when you could be saying rude things about their weight. So this leads me to think about the categories of mind that E. Michael Jones is always on about. So he's basically saying that we can think of a new concept and then choose to obsess about it until we go mad. So categories of mind, he was saying, include race, and he was saying, as a Catholic, he refuses to acknowledge this thing called whiteness and being white because it wasn't a thing when most Europeans in Europe, sorry, it race never. What am I trying to say? Race was not what Christian Europeans killed each other over. It would be about politics and religion that they would kill each other over. So why is race considered, something so such a terrible thing? It's because we've been indoctrinated to focus on it and wonder whether we're racist or not, and really, it's possible to imagine measuring different kinds of hatred, and it's possible that while you do not like people of a certain race, you might hate your spouse to the extent of killing him or her. So, which is worse? In the end, these are. Obviously, we need to recognize it when people are of a different race, because I guess if you're a copper, you kind of need to identify the suspect and to maybe some other cop car in a different place and say the suspect is a man or whatever race. Anyway, Stephen's here, so you don't need to hear me ramble on anymore. Hello, Stephen.
Yo, what's up, Claire? How are you?
I'm well, I suppose. I've been talking. I've been on G Block, spending maybe too much time there, but they raise quite a few interesting issues.
Let me know if you
They're a
can
bit
hear the
ghetto for
fan
you,
in the
aren't they?
background, by the way. Yeah, let me know if you can hear the fan in the background and I'll turn it
I
off.
can hear a little bit, but I
Is it
can hear you
annoying?
too. Is it that hot where you are?
It's pretty warm tonight, yeah. It's pretty warm tonight. So, I'll turn it off. Hold on. There we
How's
go. How's what?
Buddy? Is it Buddy?
Yeah. He's at my parents' again. So, uh,
Right.
look, yeah. I don't think he's long for the world, really. He doesn't want to go out for walks anymore. That's the latest news, so.
Oh, well, as long as he's being well looked after.
Yeah, he is. The thing is, I feel terrible about leaving him in the house when I go to work. So now I'm doing this thing where I take him to my parents' house and I leave him for like a good few days, rather than taking him on a morning and then picking him up at night. And I mean, he just loves it at my parents' place, so.
Well, that's fine then. Are you inconveniencing your parents at all?
No, they love him. I mean, he was our family dog before they moved out, so.
Right, and since they don't have to take him out for walks, maybe that's not too bad a thing for them.
No, it's not. It's not. We've all agreed it's the best thing for him, basically.
And
Essentially,
the important thing.
I was just going to say, essentially, my circumstances. I live in the house that I grew up in. My parents moved out a few years ago, and essentially the dog stayed with me. It made sense. He was always my dog. I walk him. And this was the house he grew up in. So it all made sense for him to be with me. However, it's come to the stage where it now makes more sense for him essentially to live in a retirement home, which is now my parents' home, and to like visit me on weekends.
Well, that's
If
fine.
that makes sense. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
I mean, the important thing is that he's well looked after and isn't feeling neglected. So it doesn't, well, there's
Yeah.
nothing for you to feel guilty about.
He has rapidly aged. I guess this happens with dogs. They're fine, and then all of a sudden, they like get old within like the space of a few months, and this has
Happens with
happened to
people
Buddy.
too.
Yeah, but it's happened to him like in the last month. He's like all of a sudden developed this like, I guess it's a cataract, white film over one eye. And I thought this was something that is like a gradual thing that happens. I thought like one eye would gradually go whiter and whiter and whiter. This is that, but no, it's like just all of a sudden. So there's that. He's losing his eyesight. He's losing his hearing. Ugh. Yeah. Anyway, this is what happens with dogs, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes, indeed. But yeah, I mean, today there were sort of.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it
tell
was
me your
food for
tale.
thought. Just food for thought, because then they were talking about people fretting about abstract ideas. I mean, I don't mind, people fretting about truth or justice, but it's like, am I being racist or not? Because like, it doesn't matter, not really. It only matters if you're being unjust, in my view, unjust, unfair, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Are you on your normal microphone? Just
Yes,
are
but
you
doesn't
sure?
is it not sounding very good?
It sounds fine, but occasionally it drifts out, and your microphone is normally like perfect. You can normally hear a pin drop, 6 foot behind you in the room.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes when I forget to mute, it's a bit embarrassing.
At least nobody's listening, Claire, to be honest. At least nobody's listening. So, look, this G Block group, I unsubscribed from it because like you said, I think it's a ghetto. It's far too vibrant over there for me. And I just don't care about what half of these people care about. I don't care about their arguments. Black women arguing about how Tyrone's treating them. I just don't really care
They
about
don't
any
talk
of
about
this.
that. They talk about genuinely interesting political issues, in my view. But I only listen to the men really. I kind of switch off with the women.
Yeah. So, look, if black people are complaining about being called the N word, I mean,
No, I think
it's
it was sort
2024.
of
They need to
white
get over it, don't
people.
they?
It was white people fretting about whether they're being racist or
That's
not.
even
That's what I was
worse.
on about.
Oh,
Yes, that was what
oh
I
my
was on
God.
about. Because
It's
actually, black people are not
2024.
that offended. Because that's the whole thing. They call each other that because they do intend to be offensive to each other. But I think the irony is that a white woman hearing two black men calling each other the N word can call the coppers and say she's being offended by these two black men calling each other the N word, which I thought was a bit ridiculous.
What? For real? No, no, you can't. The police aren't going to entertain
Well,
that.
well, technically it's hate speech. You don't know which way the police are going to turn. So so the black people were saying, "I'm not offended," it's in a rap song, blah blah blah, and then somebody said, "Well, you're not going to call your black friend, the N word, and whether that smooth is argument is inevitable, you know,
You
sure.
sound you sound like you're cutting in and out again.
Okay, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just sitting in the same place.
Yeah. Some shouting outside my window too. Living in Chavtown.
But yes, what I'm trying
Chatfield.
to say, Stephen, is that
Yeah.
people are worrying about nothing at all because their values are wrong. You know, there's a value being anti-racist when all we should
It's
value is
well, it's just virtue signaling at the end of the day. Then these
yes.
people must be what I mean, they must be what middle aged, because if they're Zoomers, you know that in in chat groups, people call each other these words all the time. I mentioned to Brutus, like we were talking about this the other day. I don't know if you listened to any of our streams that we've been doing.
I
We
have
were talking about,
not the recent ones, I'm afraid.
well, it was brought up what like Zoomer culture is like in chat rooms and stuff, and you've seen it for yourself, like in the Cube. In fact, you had enough of it. I mean,
Mm.
it's crazy, intense, weird, doesn't make sense from the outside perspective. It's almost impenetrable. It's and it's filled with vulgarity. All of the derogatory words for races are used amongst each other. Like, people call me the N word, or people tell me they're going to rape me, or this is just like the usual banter, and none of this
Mhm.
is meant threateningly or badly. It's just like, I don't know, playing with the words.
Mm.
All the
It's the
words are just.
tone. It's a tone that they say it in, right? Fuck off.
Uh,
Fuck off. Whatever.
well, it's really hard to even explain. It's really hard to even explain. It's just like, I don't know, in Zoomer groups, none of these words have any actual meaning. They're all divorced from their original meanings, and now they're just used as banter words.
Yes, like calling each other gay and that kind of thing. And I want people to use words accurately so that they mean something, so that you didn't just waste your breath saying whatever you said. And
Yeah.
but I think
I
old
was
people have
telling,
been saying this for a long time.
yes, and I was telling Brutus about my neighbour who is, I'm guessing, around 80 years old, I think, or something like that, in his 80s. He literally will have like a panic attack if he hears people using the F word, just just saying fucking. He will be shocked, and he will go, oh, the language, oh my god. He's so insular, and comes from that generation where he's never been exposed even to the internet of language. So probably doesn't watch TV past 9 p.m, isn't exposed to it on the television either, and so when he hears it just in everyday life, he'll he acts like he's almost having a heart attack, and oh, oh,
It's
oh, such foul
very
language.
yes, yes. But yes, every generation is a little bit different. And I used to remember reading G hyphen D, like, or D hyphen MED, and that kind of thing.
Well, that's Jewish.
Is it? I thought it was an English thing. But yes,
G
I know the
hyphen
Jews
or
do.
G underscore D, yeah,
Yeah.
because they're afraid. I know you can't say the name of God out loud, even though that's not the name of God. It's like it's like the descriptor, I'm sure God's name isn't God. That would be weird.
Yeah, I was once told
But
off for not using the capital G for God. You know, but yes, it's a convention, and also it's a show of respect. The Muslims, go on about peace be upon him and that sort of thing.
yeah, that's something else that's dropped out from like online usage and phone usage is even capitalization. If sentences weren't auto capitalized, no capitalization would be used in chat rooms and stuff like or on Telegram. Do you swear in front of your parents, Claire?
No, no, but
No.
I do remember.
Do your
Well,
parents swear in front of you?
they'd be known to do that. I mean, they say rude things to each other, and it's like, when you think about it, the most hurtful things are not swear words, but the very carefully crafted hurtful insult. So it becomes even harder to judge offensiveness.
Yeah.
So it's really people who sort of know really well that they know where to stick the knife and how to twist it. Not some chav calling you a racial slur.
How often do you use swearing in public? Like I know you're known to occasionally, bring it out as a for effect on a live stream. We've had these funny moments. How often would you do that in public with real people around it, in a pub or at
I would
Speaker's
say
Corner
as
or
rarely
whatever?
as possible. As rarely as possible.
You wouldn't start going to your typical just fuck off, oh fuck off. You wouldn't.
Well, I
You
think
wouldn't
I've
do
only
that in
done it
public.
online, but actually I feel a bit guilty now because more than once recently I've been telling people to shut the fuck up so I could talk, and I don't know, it's bad. It's not ladylike. Yes, shut
It's
the
more
fuck up.
powerful
Why
when it
don't you
comes
shut the
from.
fuck up?
Yeah, it's more powerful when it comes from a woman, isn't it? It's more shocking still. More shocking, more unanticipated. Carries more gravitas. Because, like you say, it's not ladylike. The lady has to be quite angry to use it. But there are women who use it constantly, aren't there?
Well, a little bit of the restraint, means like, oh, she's really angry now because normally she doesn't swear, but she's it's some restraint has to be exercised for the effect too. Yeah.
Welsh Smirch or whatever says, anyone reading this chat? No. Definitely not.
He wants to talk about E. Michael Jones and his thing about telling Jared Taylor that there's no such thing as white people. That only
We know why Jared Taylor does this. It's a tactic he believes. Look, well, there's two views on this. Do you believe that E. Michael Jones is just dumb enough to deny races? Probably not. Therefore, it's a tactical framing. And his framing is to do with the rights that you're afforded based upon how you identify. And if you identify as white, you have no special protections in law other than whereas if you identify by religion, you have some, albeit small, special categorizations in law.
exactly, and you can't deny that. It's like, well, even Jews need their religion to give them their special privilege, because
And of course,
and so this is the most important thing for white people to understand. It's like listen, you have no choice but to choose a religion, no choice at all. And E. Michael Jones
Well,
is right.
I mean,
Not about the.
white people would just say, well, that has to change. That's the difference. The whole alt right was really about attempts to rechange this paradigm and move away, like re-upturn the apple cart that had been going along for a certain amount of time, whereby racism, albeit explicit acknowledgement of races and any of this stuff had become politically incorrect, impolite, and to return it to where things used to be. What am I trying to say here? But look, E. Michael Jones is right about this point, but he also, I think, just avoids the race issue because he'd also get in even more trouble if he acknowledges that. So he stands behind the frock of Catholicism, particularly to make his attacks upon the Jews.
I don't think. I know people identify him as an anti-Semite, but I think deep down he hates the English. I think he's
Probably
using
the Catholic.
Jews to attack the English.
Well, he's Catholic, of course he's going to do that. I mean,
Yeah. So, he's saying, you guys, you made it all go wrong. It was fine. Everything was chugging along fine. And, when everybody was Catholic, and then Henry and Elizabeth and Protestantism and Calvinism, and you just made everything turn to shit. We knew how to deal with the Jews until you lot came along. That's basically his theme.
Well, I mean, the fundamental problem with it is, with this like trad cath LARPing, is it's not a return to tradition anyway. Certainly for Americans, it's not.
No, because they were never Catholic. Well, they were
No, they weren't.
Christian.
No.
So it's like they don't even understand their own history.
And certainly for the Anglos, it's not, because we have like a fundamental identity built. Our identity was forged in Henry VIII breaking away from that. If anything, is our identity is forged in conflict with Catholicism.
Yes, but it wasn't just the Martin Luther and Henry. It was like eventually all the monarchs of Europe thought, "Oh, we're not going to listen to you anymore, Pope, because we just know." We don't know how we were fooled, in the beginning, but we're not going to accept your authority anymore. And I think it was a gradual but inevitable process, because when all the early European kings accepted it, they were not educated then. They could barely, well, they were mostly illiterate. They were literally warlords, but they just thought, well, we need something to give us our legitimacy. So basically, Christianity has failed even the kings who used it to protect their divine right. And I'm just saying, you won't be able to go back to how it was, but unless you wanted to burn people at the stake. I mean, literally, it's like, okay, John Calvin,
Well,
he's important because he went to Switzerland. Switzerland is a republic, but but Calvin even said we still have to burn heretics at the stake. And in Geneva, somebody called Michael Servetus was burnt at the stake for denying the Trinity. So it had to be done, whatever, whether you're a republic or monarchy. And then, I think Americans think they're Christian just because they say they're Christian. And it's like, no, you kind of need to do stuff and, obey principles and follow them and stuff. And nobody seems to get it. They
Yeah, look,
literally don't. How can you have an identity if you have no rules to regulate your behavior with each other? You just can't.
yeah. I mean, from my perspective, Christianity has been reduced down to this simple case of, do you believe that in the year 2000, in the year zero or whatever, no, that's when he was born, isn't it? Whatever, around the year zero, somebody was executed on a stick and appeared again. And if you believe that this story, then you are a Christian and you go and you worship this miracle that happened just because it did, and everything else is kind of forgotten about it. It's just the case of whether you identify as you believe that this miraculous thing happened back then.
Yes,
And each
it's
of the
not.
churches have molded all the kind of fucking teachings and everything into kind of, I don't know, quasi political or things that they just talk about on a Sunday, around the fact that people turn out because they believe this one thing that happened.
Well, I don't think people were consulted because basically this was how it was done. Christian missionaries came to these barbarian kings and told them, well, would you like this thing we call the divine right of kings? And if you adopt our religion, we're going to help you run your kingdom. But of course, your people will have to follow your religion because you're the king. You can't let your people, be Hindus or Buddhists or anything else. They have to follow your religion, and if they ask too many questions, you burn them at the stake to tell them they have no choice but to follow your religion. And that's basically what
Yeah.
Christianity was. But you guys have forgotten it because you were never even told about it, because it's like, let's gloss over this whole thing. And I think the British in particular are responsible for it because it's like, well, everybody's lost their monarchy, the Germans, the
Yeah,
French,
I
the
get it. I
Russians, but the British, they still have their monarchy and they want to keep it. So they're not going to
I
say
get
mean things about Christianity.
I get how you know some of what you say about how it spread is probably correct. Yes, that's how it spread. I'm just talking about what it is today. It's this virus, this mind virus, that is passed on to people at a young age now, and it really only exists really kind of in America, South America as Catholicism. Hold on, I've got an echo. Hold on. It really only exists anymore in America. These are the big areas where in the American South, in South America, with like Catholic Hispanics, and then in parts of Africa. These are kind of the hotbeds that are still left of Christianity. And in America, it's really just people who believe that there is an afterlife, that it doesn't matter if they're poor, they will get access to this afterlife if they believe in this guy who was killed and rose again. And it doesn't matter how poor they are or how shit of a life they are. They could be homeless. They could be drinking beers all day. They could, be having sex with prostitutes. They could be drug addicts. They can, be homeless, have no job, no life, no prospects. But as long as they believe that this miracle happened to this guy in the desert 2,000 years ago, then when they die, they'll finally like win the lottery. And it's this mind virus that persists. And all
I
the
don't
kind
think they
of,
even really believe it. That is the thing. I don't think they even really believe it. And Luke's,
it's a
you might have.
compelling narrative. It's a compelling narrative, Claire.
Well, yes, people are afraid to die, but I think if you really interrogate them, you'll find they don't really believe, and it's just a cultural identity. And this was what Luke Ford was saying, that because when he arrived from Australia, he took the whole thing literally, and then he went to American high school and he saw all these, these students, these, they were fornicating, but they would still go to church on Sundays because it was a cultural
I
thing. And
I
but they
think
didn't really believe in it. But of course he did because his father was this, theologian who took the whole thing
I
seriously.
think I think what people don't believe in, because and who can blame them, because they become rational, and today they're more educated and they have full access to information via the internet now, and full access to media and the internet, and we're in the age of like rational thought and scientific understanding. And so what they don't believe is like the Bible, the stories in the Bible, but many people are still infected with this actual
6 billion
belief.
people have a religion. 6 billion plus people are either Jewish, um, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or Buddhist, adding up to around just
uh,
over 6 billion people. So,
yeah, but what I'm trying to say is you can see, let's talk just about the Christians again. We can see that people obviously don't believe in like the literal things that are said in the Bible. Otherwise, they would follow them to the law. If people even, suspected it was likely that they wouldn't get into hell if they fornicated, or they wouldn't get into heaven if they fornicated, or anything like, then there would be no chance of them doing it. So we can see by people's revealed preferences that they don't believe what the Bible literally says, so they suspect that that's all rubbish. But we can also see from revealed preferences, like when people go to, like when bad things happen, when there's funerals, or you can see that people like become reverent for a minute. They suspect, that there's something greater, that even in with all their rationality and their scientific understandings and whatever, they still think, look, there's some kind of afterlife, there's something beyond this world, and like I want to be connected to it, and so they hold both beliefs to be true at once and the same time, I think.
double think. Orwell called it double think.
Mm.
So, but the thing is, the whole idea is useful because not because it is provably true, but because so many people want to believe in it. And
Mm.
if the government decided that it is time for people to believe in it, then the switch can just be easily flicked. You just get, the BBC
No,
and
it can't.
whatever to roll out, all the reasons why we should, and very soon there will be a general belief in this new political orthodoxy. It just needs somebody at the top to say, hey, maybe we should do it this way. And it will
No,
be
I
done.
disagree. No, I disagree. I think all the evidence is you instill religion in children, and then children grow up with it. I mean, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
in
done
two or
in
three
adult.
generations, there will be a general
In a,
belief in God when, the people who are forced to believe, okay, let's say secular coronism is the law, and you find some chaste woman at the mosque, and but anyway, you have children, and you wouldn't be able to stop yourself from telling your children Allah is watching you, so you better not eat all the cookies or whatever you tell them not to do. You just wouldn't be able to stop yourself from doing that, and they'll grow up. Oh, Allah, we better do as Dad says, and that is how it's going to happen.
the problem with Islam is that Islam teaches that the Quran is the literal word of God. And you're going to say, no, that's not the problem. That's the unique selling point. Okay. But it's the problem. It's a fucking problem
Why
because
is it a
it
problem?
becomes absurd on further
What is
analysis.
absurd about it? Actually, okay, I'm saying, for all the hudud punishments, for sodomy and or fornication, adultery. It's like these are just this life punishments. So the Quran
The
doesn't say if you don't get sent to hell for these sexual offenses. You get sent to hell for hypocrisy, for hypocrisy. That is
it,
the thing that Muslims don't ever mention. It's like, you
what
can be sent because there's a verse saying hypocrites get sent to hell.
what do women get in heaven? If men get
They
72
get the
virgins,
same
what do women?
thing, and beautiful men and women bringing them their food and their drink and their alcohol that they will never get into trouble over drinking. They'll have nice things to wear and soft furnishings and water features and gardens or
I
running.
mean, like I say, on further analysis, it's just absurd. But the problem is that there can be no interpretations of Islam because the claim is that it is literally the word of God dictated, from a cloud to Muhammad.
Yeah, well,
Therefore,
somebody's
there
got
is
to
no.
interpret it.
Well, no, there is no interpretation because
So of course
you
that
can't change the word of
you
God.
the UK
Unlike
Supreme Court, the US Supreme Court, the Supreme Court of any country adopting it will be interpreting it.
no,
Why is it
okay,
so
okay, I
difficult to
get it.
understand?
Now I get it. Interpreting a legal structure to base upon it, that's a different matter. But I'm just pointing out the difference between the fundamental difference. The problem with Islam is that they say their book wasn't written by a man. Okay, it wasn't written by like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And has since been, turned into, a collection of books that talk about a holy event, or like the Jews, a collection of books written by prophets, which about like some holy event or narrative. No, with Islam, it was literally the word of God, every single word of it, as written, and so it's beyond interpretation. You can't say, that one of those words shouldn't be in there. And yet, on further analysis, it's absurd because it's not even written very well. There's, multiple errors in it, scientific errors as well, misunderstandings like where a baby comes from, and all this kind of stuff. So it's absurd on further analysis. But you
The
can't.
stories don't matter. It's the rules. It's the rules. So it's like, I know Islamophobes go, about the horse and flying to the moon. It's like Muslims don't talk about it. It's like we don't know what
I've
hope
heard
is.
I've heard Muslims make apologetics for this. Oh, it's a dream or
Yeah,
whatever.
but it's not a pillar. It's not a pillar. It doesn't matter if you don't know what it means. What matters is that you pray 5 times, you give zakat, you blah blah blah. You know, that's what makes a Muslim a Muslim. Not whether Muhammad flew to the moon or whatever. And we all know, we already know, yeah. And it's part of Muslim identity not to eat pork and obviously following the inheritance laws and whatever. So fundamentally, white people have to kind of decide whether they need, some kind of rule system to hold their ruling classes to account or not. And it's like this whole thing. Who's calling me now? Oh, it's gone. It's gone. I think it might be Vincent. Oh,
What do you
he
mean?
wants to talk now. He must have come back from his sex party. Or I can bring him here,
I had
which
to
I think
leave
I might.
that. Start a space if you prefer. I mean,
No.
what?
I think I feel we should kind of do a bit of both because different people.
There's nobody.
I
There's
feel I
nobody
should
even.
keep in touch with you two people
There's
like
nobody even
Conrad.
watching. Nobody's even listening to us.
Well, anyway, he's got the link, so I think he'll be with us shortly.
I had to drop out of that sex party thing. It got too much. So,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
For clarification, just a minute, for those listening, not a sex party, a discussion of a sex party.
Vincent's here to tell us all. Has he come in? Hi, Vincent.
Hi, actually, just give me 1 second because I want to try talking to you on my headset. And hold on 1 second.
All right.
Maybe he's going to live stream from the event.
Well, there are all these conventions, right? And the thing is, it's like you mustn't talk to people at sex parties too much, because then you'll put them off if you talk too much. And actually, it's sort of true. Like men who talk too much, it's like, no, don't talk too much, guys. If you talk too much, she might be put off you. So that's why, that there is a sort of stereotypical attractive man who's tall, dark, handsome, and mysterious.
What is it with Vincent and never having an avatar wherever he goes?
He just doesn't respect the conventions of social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just shows such utter contempt for it.
It's unacceptable behaviour.
But then, he's got so many followers on Twitter now. And he hasn't, he didn't do anything. Hardly. So well, obviously some accounts get boosted and others not. Because I think, that there are other people who have had their accounts suppressed. And I don't know. And it's deliberate, according to Caleb Morpin. They just promote, the useless people who will, just do bad things and give your cause a bad name, and not promote the good people who can make it work. Oh, would you know what's happened to Nick Griffin? He doesn't seem to be on Twitter anymore. Maybe he's had his
No,
account.
I don't. No, I've not heard.
Okay. Well, somebody else noticed. Vincent.
Whatever, I just won't use my headset. Anyway, I was getting dressed, whatever, and I feel too fat, ugly, and old to go to a gay sex party, so I'm staying home.
Oh. And you didn't like the name because it was called Scum.
Yeah, it's called Scum. It's probably a better sex party, but I'm just disgusted in myself. I'm at the fattest I've ever been. My skin isn't clear. I'm old. I'm tired.
Well, you said last time that everybody wants you because you're the perfect age, being 40. Fit and 40. Fab and 40.
If I was
From what I understand, go on.
If I was fit and 40, it would be fine, but,
Well, this is the problem with the gay lifestyle, isn't it? That I think because it looks matter so much, really, don't they? If you're always after a physical encounter, then it's all about
not all physical.
Lust.
No, it's not all about a physical encounter. Lots of gay men date each other and are looking for dates and things like that. It's me. First of all, it's me who's upset with the way I look. Plenty of straight people don't like the way they look. Plenty of women don't like the way they look.
Well, yes, women. But whatever. I don't want to beat you down, Vincent.
Straight men care about the way they look, too.
Yeah, but it's
a lot less than gay men. A lot less than gay men.
Stephen,
straight men don't think about it enough, probably.
Don't you want to look good, Stephen?
He already looks good.
Probably do.
Right.
Probably, yeah.
because
Okay,
he's a
well,
great
excuse
kickboxer.
me. Straight men who are unattractive do nothing but complain about how women don't want them and how they need to re-enslave women so that they have no choice but to sleep with disgusting, ugly men in order to have a fucking roof over their head and bread in their belly.
Look, I accept it. It's been easy for me because I was athletic. So I fully appreciate if I hadn't have been athletic, I could have turned out maybe fat or whatever, and then then maybe I'd have a problem with myself. But it's not really. Yeah, I can't really comment, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So you have the goods, and so you don't complain. So that means all straight men don't complain. Straight men don't complain about the way they look. They complain that women don't want them.
Yes, this is true. Yeah, this is true. Which is what I'm saying is that really straight men should probably pay more attention to themselves in a way. It's probably part of the problem.
Or maybe women aren't really that fussy. So I mean, obviously, it would help if there was just a queue of all kinds of men in different sizes and income brackets, etc. But
There is for women. Claire,
okay, women
women
in their
now
20s
turn on
probably.
Tinder. Yeah. Well, even look, I don't know. Get Tinder, and I'm probably sure yours will start pinging too. Come on, it's not just women in their 20s. There's men out there willing to have sex with anything.
I saw somebody's Tinder selection, and the women were scary. There was just something so scary about those women in middle age, all tarted up, and
Yes,
whatever.
that's because as a man, you don't get very many offerings unless you're in the top 10 or 5% of men. So maybe I should join Tinder for as an experiment and do a video on it or something, because I've never joined. So I have no experience of putting myself on a shelf with which to
Well, I think
talk about it.
you should do it indirectly. Like, I don't know, join a language class or evening class or something like that.
No, I meant for the social experiment of it to.
Well, either you're going to get fucked or not, and nothing will come of it. Probably.
No, I mean for the
You'll have moved
content.
on.
I'm just thinking for the content, and then I could brag about it if I do well or whatever, or just I don't know. I've never done it.
Well, you should have done it in Las Vegas and gone to one of those brothels. And then it would have been exotic or something.
I don't need to go to a brothel, Claire.
No, so this is the thing. That would have been greater content because you'll go, whoa, it's Las Vegas. Ooh, it's Nevada. And it's because we don't have brothels in the UK because it's illegal. And then you can go.
Wait. How many times do I have to tell you I don't need to go to a fucking brothel?
You're just being so cheap. Okay, if I were a bloke, I'd do that once. It's like, well, at least I don't have to.
It disgusts me though, so I'm not going to do that.
I think it's
Disgusts
more honest.
me.
It's more honest. You know what you're
No,
getting. You don't have to be. You don't have to pretend to be a feminist. That's a difference.
No, I'm sorry.
Right?
I just can't get over the idea this girl is putting it out there, and so she could have had 500 dudes banging her in the last week or something. I just can't get beyond that. I'm sorry. And I know your answer is, well, you don't know how many a girl that you meet on the in a bar or something has been with, but I don't know. In my mind, there's a vast gulf between the two. I assume that a prostitute is, taking risks, has potential STDs, probably into drugs, into bad life situations.
Okay, you would use a condom on the first encounter, wouldn't you? Come on. it wouldn't be matched for anyone, right? I mean that's etiquette, isn't it? Not that
Yes.
I know about these things, but
I'm not interested in prostitutes, for goodness sake.
I
Leave
just
it alone.
gonna make a
Everything.
content. So I mean, what you're gonna say? Oh, I met this girl on Twitter. Yes, I shagged her. Oh, I think you should. Oh, I don't know. I guess you're not really serious about it.
Serious about what? I don't just want to have random sex. I'm over that. Over that.
No, you're not serious about finding somebody, finding the mother of your children. Where are you going to find them? You're going to find them on Grindr? Sorry, Tinder? Surely not. I mean, this is not the place to look for them. You know, like it's like Vincent. Vincent wants a boyfriend. It's like, well, a sex party is not where you're supposed to be looking for your next boyfriend.
Yes,
Surely.
if you want a sex addict boyfriend, then yes, it is.
But it's just so at odds with the idea of having a, long-term relationship. It's like,
Vincent,
oh,
aren't
I
the,
met my future husband at an orgy. It's bad
Vincent,
enough to
aren't
say,
the people who attend gay sex parties likely to be riddled with STDs?
Well, as long as I can't catch it, I don't care if they have HIV, but
What about all the others?
yeah, I'd be worried about that.
And it's much more likely that the type of clientele that would attend such a event would be, they're a high risk environment.
Yes, they are.
There you go.
Well, I don't deny it.
What's up? Has your grinder shriveled up or something? Has that, dried up?
Yeah, well, but Grindr sucks, and so does Scruff, and so does Adam for Adam. Well, I was talking about this. The gay dating scene changed when these apps came out.
Explain.
People were more serious back in the day when you had to work, when you had to actually work to find a man. Now I don't know. They don't want to meet. They're not serious. It's all full of straight people that are hiding, and it's just not useful.
not that long ago, I went to a pub with a friend after watching Zone of Interest. So that was a few months ago, and it had a gay flag. So, but it was the nearest pub, so we went in. It's like there were no gay people at all. So it's like, well, if I were gay, I'd be really pissed off. It's like maybe you want to cat. There's nobody there. Everybody there was straight, and just probably having a drink after work or something. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, how can you be sure? In the UK, people don't tend to wear this stuff outwardly, do they? So they might all have been closeted like you.
But I suppose I think the reason is even gay pubs can't exclude non-gay men. So nobody, not even gay people, keep their identity and keep their own safe space. It's all mixed up, making everything so time-consuming and difficult. Because people can't just say, well, I just this is a gay pub, we only want gay people, because straight people will just get in the way or take up space. They're not coming up with gay action. So I just think people should just be allowed to organize themselves in the way that they want.
What about the bars, Vincent? Surely you know, like, I don't know, half a dozen gay bars. Are they still not thriving and places where people go and meet up?
No, they're not thriving anymore. Killed the bar scenes. The apps killed the bar scenes. Nobody goes to the bars anymore.
Well, okay.
But where do they meet? Surely they meet in a bar. Or they meet in a park or something.
They meet at each other's houses.
So you're saying that gay people don't do anything fun anymmental? Is this what
No,
you're saying?
no, they've all turned into a bunch of sexless, boring, um, judgmental, sexually judgmental people. They're becoming
They-
straight. They're becoming straight because they're so mainstream now. They're becoming like judgmental, middle class people with picket fences.
and slut shame each other. Gay men slut shame each other like
Yeah,
women.
they do now. Not that didn't used to be the same.
This is all new to me. Wow.
Yeah, gay men slut shame
And
each other now.
Yes, Vincent knows because he's been slut shamed
Yes,
and kink shamed.
and kink shamed.
wow.
So I think
Is
it's
it not
serious.
is it not a product of where you live? Shouldn't you try to move to like one of the like gay hearts of America, like San Francisco or wherever?
No, they're all turning into judgmental little bitches.
Wow.
So basically, there's this interchange of gay culture into straight culture and straight culture into gay culture. And nobody gets to keep their identity.
Yeah, we're switching places. Gays and straight people are switching places.
Well, I don't quite understand that. How are
They-
straight people becoming gay?
No, they're starting to act like gay people. Well, first of all, straight people are hoes.
Not really. The men aren't having sex. It's just the girls.
Yeah, I remember reading in a textbook that women only have 1% more sex than men do.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
That's what
There's
I
like, absolutely not. I mean, look, I imagine from like 16 to 19, 20, like the college and university ages, it's about equal. But then after that age, it drops off a cliff. And you have women with like, I don't know, 10 different guys attempting to date her all at the same time. And so she can just hop from guy to guy, basically. And in doing so, there's like a carousel of the top. I'm sure it's exaggerated. Like the top 30% of men are the dicks that these women are hopping from, dick to dick upon, and that's how it works.
Well, that's why we need to restore polygamy, because that's the natural order of things, because the lower 70% of men shouldn't be having children. I mean, if you're a fat, poor slob, then no, don't have children, please.
No, but if a woman is prepared to marry you because you're filthy rich, then, well, who are you to say? I mean, not all women just go for, oh, he's a good-looking bloke. I'll go for him.
No, of course not. No, of course not. Many women are gold diggers. They're just like easily impressed. It's just natural, I suppose. It's not even a bad thing to be impressed by prestige, status, power, and money. So these are the natural things. Women date up. This is hypergamy. Women naturally date up. They don't want a man that's lower in status, lower in wealth, lower in social hierarchy than them, because they have options. They have like 5 other guys in their inbox seeing if they're single, so they have options to pick from. So out of the 5, they'll pick, whatever it is that they want at that time. and this is how it goes. But what the phenomenon, the modern phenomenon that's happening is that there's like whatever 60 or 70% of guys who are objectively out of the dating market around this age of like 22 to 30 years old, and then these women who've been whoring around, hopping on the cock carousel for like they're in their 20s, then will settle down with one of these beta males that they will they'll come with a baby in tow, basically from Chad, and get one of these beta males to raise it for them. And for many of these guys, that this is the best that they can hope for, that maybe they get to have a second child with one of these single mothers that comes along and looks for somebody to raise their child. It's quite sad, isn't it?
Well, men could easily just flip the coin over by changing the rules or proposing to change the rules, but nobody's even going to challenge the feminist order. I have to suggest it, I have to recommend it, and everybody's going, oh no, I can't be bothered. Just no survival instinct.
Anyway, Vincent, how are we going to get you shredded so that you can get back into the sex parties?
Well,
Let's talk about that.
I need to stop eating so much, and I'm not going. I'm not.
You're not going to exercise.
No, but I'll eat. I've lost like last year. I lost 30 pounds, and then I gained it all back.
So, what about drugs? I mean, I don't advocate drugs, you know me, but there are drugs that you could use to get rid of this weight.
Yeah.
There's Ozempic, Wegovy. You can even get cheap versions of them online. These are the ones where you just inject yourself into your thigh. It's like the diabetic medication, and it makes you basically makes you feel sick if you try to eat. So, it's like when you're nauseous, you don't want to eat. It makes you feel full. So, this is what like all the celebrities are using. You could do something like that. These are something like a couple of $100 per month.
Yeah.
Failing that, you could abuse amphetamines.
I would abuse amphetamines if I could afford them.
Well, I don't recommend that. Those are addictive.
Yeah, well, I don't give a shit.
Well, you probably the surprising answer is you probably could afford them.
I can't afford shit.
Okay. Well, you were able to afford to pay like a couple of $1,000 for some treatment recently, weren't you?
Yeah, I paid for a ketamine treatment.
Well, that could probably get you a year's supply of amphetamine.
Well, I can't spend $1,300 often. I mean, I spent $1,300 because my ketamine treatment wasn't for getting high. It was for alleviating depression.
Yeah.
Has that improved?
It improved for a while, and then it went away, and then...
Well, I think you need to change your belief system. That, I think, is key. What have you got against Vincent going to heaven?
Vincent needs to learn to just shut the door on you, like many of the people shut the door on him as a Jehovah's Witness in his face and told him to fuck off.
I think Vincent deep down believes in God.
Not
It's
your type of God. Not your type. Not yours.
the most powerful god conceivable.
The most absurd.
So, Vincent, do you
Busybody.
agree?
A busybody God.
An all-seeing god.
Puffwagon
Vincent,
says. Puffwagon says we need to get you on testosterone.
Yeah, I do need testosterone.
Well, these supplies are legal. I think they're decriminalized. I don't know exactly. Certainly in America, but lots of people get access to it. All you'd have to do is go join a gym, and you'll start getting offered steroids.
wouldn't it be quite erotic to see all those sweaty men pumping iron, Vincent? And
Well, maybe
helping you pump iron.
The problem is,
Is
from
there
what I
gym
understand,
porn? I bet there's gym porn.
if you don't exercise on it, then you're going to gain weight anyway. But the thing about it is it makes you want to exercise. So you'd want to go and exercise.
So almost any scenario, and you get it. So I just said gym porn, and obviously there's sort of lots of porn in gyms that I see have come up in my search. Gym porn videos.
You just typed in gym porn. Oh my god! What?
I've got
Can
a
only
whole.
imagine what's come up.
Or you can just think of anything, and somebody will have thought about it and filmed it. Isn't it astonishing?
Yeah, you only have to go to Puffwagon's right. Like you only have to go to a lifting gym. Okay, so one with weights and machines, not like a boxing gym, but a big sweaty man will offer you steroids in the locker room, like I don't know, within 1 or 2 visits.
Is that true?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Well,
Literally, this is where you obtain steroids, is in the locker rooms at a gym. Okay, this is the truth. They'll probably sell speed at the same time and whatever too. Just if you end up abusing amphetamines, don't start injecting it. I know 2 guys at my old boxing gym who they were okay speedheads, okay, because all they did was eat it. So they used to buy it. I think it's cheap in the UK, and they would just eat it out of the bag. So they never took it, and then they'd just like be punching and kicking the heavy bags like for about 6 hours a day, non-stop. That's all they did. They eat speed and kick a bag for like 6 hours a day, and those guys were absolutely shredded.
What are the side effects?
Obviously, I don't know. From my understanding, is no appetite, and so you don't eat anything, and you have lots and lots of energy. So the two
But eventually you
combinations
run
of
out.
this. Eventually, you crash and burn, which, but I think this is where the addiction comes in, because then you take more amphetamines to keep going. So the people who are addicted to it are the ones who avoid the crashing and burning. Because, like, I know these two lads who, were just always, every single time that I went to the gym, they were always there every single day. Just every single day.
But surely they have to eat something as well. I mean, what is the purpose? Do they? I mean, what do they do other than pump iron and work out?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll eat, but they, because they're exercising at a high amount, they can eat. But yeah, I don't know.
Mm.
From what I understand, because amphetamines are a class of ADHD drugs are a class of amphetamine. So what they do in low doses is help you to focus your mind. If you're like a scatterbrained ADHD person, a small amount can help you focus your mind. A large amount can mean that you just like get absolute tunnel vision on something that you focus on and think about nothing else. You won't think about eating. You won't think about, like, I don't know, washing, probably getting showered, changing your clothes. You just be absolutely hyper focused, methed out on like training in a gym or something like that for hours on end.
It just doesn't sound like fun.
No, but each to their own, isn't it?
I suppose.
I don't advise it, but it depends what matters to you. I'd recommend it to a really obese person, because I think there's nothing worse than like obesity. If somebody's really obese, they're heading for a heart attack. They probably have a terrible life. They probably have, they're probably sad about their existence. They probably don't have a girlfriend, and they're heading for a heart attack. They should probably get on some kind of drugs and deal with it.
I mean, I've seen a few obese people trying to jog, and I feel sorry for them. It's like, should you be doing this? It's like, you
that's
might
probably
hurt your
more
knees.
dangerous. That's probably more dangerous than taking some drugs to just stop eating, really. And like I say, you don't have to take the ones that come with the danger of addiction, like amphetamines. That there's this new class of diabetic drugs that also have the same effect of curbing the appetite. I think Elon Musk is on it. All the Hollywood celebrities are on Wegovy.
He's on Elon Musk is on ketamine, isn't he? That's what I heard. For his depression or something.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's true.
But I really think, this whole psychology thing and how advertisers and just everybody else is telling us to believe in whatever they want us to believe in the hope that, once we believe in whatever they want us to believe in, we'll do what they want. So belief is important. And anyway, the Buddhism does say right thought, right speech, right action. And that is logical. We act on our beliefs. And the only way to interfere with those beliefs is to reward or punish certain forms of behavior, which is what legalism is. I mean, we
Elliot
are already...
Elliot Black says bring on Conops.
No, he's gone now, hasn't he?
Oh,
I'll put the link in the I'll put the link in the chat. See if Elliot wants to come on. Oh, you'll have to do it, Claire, I think.
I'll do it. Yeah, we haven't spoken to Elliot for a while.
He's an asshole.
Get on here, Elliot.
Fight.
Answer for yourself. is he an asshole? What's up with Elliot? Elliot's a good guy.
Oh,
I like
Elliot or
Elliot.
Conops? Elliot or Conops?
Oh, Elliot, we were talking about there.
Oh no, Elliot is fine. I don't mind Elliot. I mind Conops.
Good,
Hi,
because he's
Elliot.
here.
Hello, let me adjust my audio. 1 second.
Oh, yay. Long time no speak, Elliot.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, what's going on?
We're getting the band back together.
What? Yeah, I hear an echo. Hold on a second. Yes. Hold on a second. I am hearing the echo. It's making it difficult.
We don't.
Am I in or you're in?
What, we can't hear an echo.
Yeah.
I can't hear an echo.
It'll be your YouTube window that's open.
Oh, of course. Okay. All right, how about now?
No.
All right, that's good. Yeah, fun times, huh? Fun times in America.
Yeah.
You guys are so
Elliot.
lucky.
Elliot, could you rent out Vincent a room with which he can practice whorehousing
I do have an extra.
in San Francisco?
I do have an extra room in San Francisco. It's very small,
Vincent, there you go.
but it's not in the fun part of town. I think Vincent wouldn't like my particular neighborhood.
There's Ubers.
Yeah, but they're expensive, and the city has gone way downhill. I don't think Vincent would find.
Well, I don't think Vincent should be going to sex parties.
I don't either. It sounds like a very unsanitary undertaking.
Oh,
Yes.
straight people have sex parties all the time.
Well, they shouldn't be going to sex parties either. I
Really?
disapprove.
So what are we talking about?
Well, there are all sorts of conventions for. I think Vincent broke one of them, by talking too much and being banned from one of them. But I'm sure that there's some kind of etiquette or orgy etiquette.
Listen,
How does a
there's
woman?
the possibility that Biden is dead right now.
What?
And this is what we're talking about. Yeah, he's not been seen since the 17th. He's not been seen in public. The announcement sort of came out in a very impersonal way. And rumors are just, flying on the internet. So I figured that's the only topic worth discussing.
Well, I guess he'll just fade away now that he knows the media aren't going to support him, and he just wrote a letter, right? There's no dramatic, kind of heart in mouth resignation speech.
Well, he didn't write the letter. Someone wrote the letter. Now they're looking at the signature to see if it's his signature, and it wasn't done on, official White House stationery.
Wasn't it?
No, it was on Biden's own personal letterhead, and I don't know. There's just so much fodder for conspiracy theorizing right now that it's a nail biter.
Well, Kenneth Morpin was saying it's very unusual to have a presidential debate so early on in the campaign in June before either the Republican or the Democrat conventions, because it's usually held in September, isn't it? So he was saying this was just them getting ready to kick him out.
Yeah, I've heard that theory. There was an answer, though. Trump had, prior to the debate, Trump had been in the news for his conviction, quote unquote, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was sort of really on his back foot. It was a PR victory for the Democrats to have this conviction because they got to call him a felon at every turn. And so I think the theory was they wanted to get him on TV and have Biden just call him a felon a bunch of times while the iron was hot, while the story was still fresh. They didn't want that story to fade from the news. But boy, did it backfire. I mean, so there is a school of thought that says that everybody wanted him out. They knew he was senile, and they just needed to, they were playing some 4D chess, and they knew that they needed to put this fact in front of the American people. The book that sorts this all out is going to be a bestseller.
I was looking at the Trump merchandise. It's his webpage, and I think I want that T-shirt with him with the fist pump and flag and I don't think they sell it yet, or I don't know where to find it.
Oh, I'm sure there's places already.
There'll be many imitations on eBay or something.
Yeah, I would be afraid to wear that shirt in San Francisco. I wouldn't do that. I would become a target.
Yeah, somebody was saying that some attractive woman was wearing a MAGA hat, like it was all right to do that. And I forget which state it was, but it was written with some surprise. And that was what made me have a look at the Trump merchandise.
Yeah, I'd be afraid to put an American flag on my car or a hat or anything like that. It's just not done. We're in bad times.
Elliot, I've got a post to share with you. This could.
Where is it? Hold on. I gotta look at
It's on the screen. Is this true?
It's a poor taste, but it's certainly a possibility. So yeah, that's the theory, that Obama's really the one sort of pulling the strings behind everything. He's truly he's really has been the president all along.
Running the CIA.
I guess there's the Obama faction and the Clinton faction, or
So I think what we'd have to say is it would be absolutely remarkable if it turns out that they've released this resignation letter without Joe Biden knowing. This is almost like a 1%, or 0.01% possibility. So, and we're going to find out in the next couple of days. But if it isn't that, then what it's going to be is the reason, what I'm hearing is the reason that Biden will have endorsed Kamala is because they've been strong-armed into doing this. We know Jill was against it. Hunter was against it. He's really it's like a palace coup that's taken place, and so he's left the Democratic Party with Kamala holding the bag,
there's a financial reason. So the money donated so far has been to the Biden-Harris campaign, right? And so to retain that money, Kamala has to be on the ticket. This is how I'm understanding it. And so my theory is that they'll retain her on the ticket until they're going to, according to this Mark Halpern guy, they're pushing for this guy named Kelly from Arizona, who I think was a former astronaut. And he's sort of got, he's more of a traditional American, shall we say. He's less woke. And I think this is their way of sort of de-wokeifying the Democratic Party. And so they're going to use Kamala to get the money, and then they're going to pick an event out of her illustrious past, and that's going to be sufficient to dump her from the ticket. And so then you'll have Kelly at the top of the ticket with a verified, twig and berries and a more normal political presentation. I think they're trying to move to the center. It's kind of a elaborate theory, but that's what I think is going on.
Interesting. Yeah.
But what I know is nothing. It's so fun to speculate.
Yeah, I was doubting Luke Ford, basically until the Trump assassination. Every single night he was doing a 3-hour show Like it's the last days of the Biden administration, and it turned out he was fucking prescient about this. He was right. Luke Ford got it spot on.
Yeah.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
And I was really doubtful. I was thinking, no, it's not going to happen. Even Richard Spencer said, look, I don't think they're going to get rid of Biden at the end of the day. And so it came as a real surprise to me.
Well, our boy Chuck Johnson,
Well,
like
yeah.
literally cannot make a prediction come true. If it kills him. Like he would predict the sun coming up tomorrow and it would not come up, He's been, I don't know, for some reason, this guy just loves Joe Biden. And not only did he predict that Biden would remain on the ticket, but he would win in a landslide. And like 3 days later, he's gone. It's just so savory to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's one thing about being a bullshitter. You also have to to look credible. You also have to be good at like regular predictions too. So if you're just terrible at regular predictions, your bullshit looks even worse, doesn't it?
yeah.
And this guy is just I can't take anything he says seriously.
Yeah, and Chuck Johnson and Richard Spencer both are really behind Biden. They like Biden, but they never quite articulate why. At least as far as I can tell, their reasons just seem to be very vague and just insubstantial. Like I can't understand how people associated with white nationalism would suddenly find Biden attractive. I never heard a real clear explanation.
Well, I mean, it's really hatred for Trump, isn't it? It's this is what it is. It is not wanting Trump to get another term, being disappointed with Trump, realizing he wasn't what we expected, and then coming out the other side to hate Trump, and even I mean anybody who's just a compos mentis, like observer and former Trump enthusiast, now looks at it with some kind of criticism, and you realize it wasn't all what it was made out to be, and he fumbled the ball lots of times, and
Well,
there was a big shit show with the election, that he wouldn't, that he claimed was rigged.
Well, that aside, if you look at what Trump, all the fireworks and theatrics and the tweets aside, what Trump did with the Supreme Court is he was the most will prove to make him the most consequential president of a long time. Right? What really matters.
I think this is just Trump luck. I think people like Richard Spencer just think this is like just Trump's luck.
Yeah.
He didn't really do much about that. I mean, it really was like, people just died. Happened. If the best thing Trump's done is just be there when people died.
True, but he made the appointments. He could have gone like a lot of Republicans. They go with very centrist judges, right? But he went to the right. He went hard to the right, and he got, several decisions that are going to impact American culture for a long time. The real lasting power in the United States is the Supreme Court, and that's why people fight so viciously for the presidency. Is because it's not the presidency; it's the court that they want to influence.
Yeah.
So anyway, but anyway, so then then Spencer and Chuck Johnson have this hatred for this J.D. Vance character, who I basically knew nothing about, and I think they hate him because they're peers. He's a peer of theirs. He's in their age bracket.
That's an interesting angle.
And I think they're just jealous as hell that he's the one that got elevated and not them. Because their hatred of him is truly irrational.
Yeah, I know that they're suspicious. One of the things that they always talk about, they're suspicious of the PayPal mafia, of which he is aligned to. So there's Elon Musk, there's Peter Thiel, and this entire Silicon Valley group. Like, did you see the other day where when Biden dropped out, Elon Musk has changed his profile picture to the laser eyes?
I didn't
Did
see
that?
that.
Yeah, he did that immediately as Biden dropped out, which is fascinating. And he's also announced £45 million a month to the Trump campaign. He's come out absolutely in favour, and this is just immediately coinciding with his Trump's picking of J.D. Vance, who is the Peter Thiel candidate. Peter Thiel funded his election campaign, so he is the Peter Thiel candidate. He is the PayPal mafia candidate. That's why he's got the vice president job. Whatever else his attributes are, this is why he's got the job, because he's getting 45 million a month from Elon Musk and however much a month from Peter Thiel, basically. So they are suspicious of that, and what this means, in terms of what Trump is going to then be beholden to, as well as being the biggest Zionist in the room as well. They don't like that part too.
Well, okay, so if Zionism or anti-Zionism is your primary issue, there is really no difference between Trump and Biden on that score. True or false?
Well, so again, I don't know. The Richard Spencer analysis would be, I suppose, that no, there is a difference in that, like, Trump is fully in bed. I mean, he was literally called crowned king of the Jews. The first Jewish president. I mean, the only man to be crowned king of the Jews since Jesus back in the day. But given a place on the Golan Heights or something. So, I mean, Trump is so enthusiastic, whereas Biden is like a bit of a senile old boomer who has a bunch of like moderate Jews like Blinken who seem to be, in some respect, actually like kind of not giving Netanyahu a free rein, which this is the Richard Spencer analysis again, not giving him the free rein that somebody like Trump might come in, like a wildebeest and just say, we're moving the embassies to Jerusalem, we're moving the Gazan people to fucking, Africa or whatever.
What was this? We have cats freaking out. So, how are people? Are people in the UK generally following the story, or is it just another story, and it's not a big deal? It's just they're acting up.
I'm following it. Yeah, I mean,
but is it front page news in the UK, or is it?
Yeah. I mean, we're aware of it. The Trump assassination was the biggest story of the week, where that was like wall-to-wall coverage, news, every single station, 24/7 for a couple of days.
Well, if you want to make the case that Trump is sort of divinely ordained, I mean, there's a lot of evidentiary basis for that. He came so close to being dead. And not only dead, but dead in high definition. Do you imagine if that bullet had actually hit his head? And all of the video.
JFK moment, wouldn't it?
Would have been JFK, but JFK was this sort of grainy camera. It was just kind of, shot at a distance. This would have been up close and in high definition, captured 1 million times by 1 million different iPhones. And you would just never stop seeing it. It would be traumatizing.
Hey, actually, you say that, but one of the stark things that I've thought of since this is I've not seen many people's phone footage of this event. This is one thing that I've noticed is missing. Where are like the 100 different recordings of people in that crowd? I imagine they'll filter out, but there must have been more.
Yeah, I'm sure there's thousands. And
But what was your point? Yes, it would have been. It would have been obviously, yeah. we've yet to have, I suppose, an assassination in this media age.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
And yeah, that would have been crazy.
and there'd be no
I mean,
like.
it was crazy.
It was crazy enough as it was, but if they were just truly a macabre scene that unfolded with lots of gore and children looking at that and being basically almost impossible from preventing them from seeing it. You've heard, the Zapruder film, they took out a couple of frames because they were just too gory. So the one that circulates is actually missing a frame or two because it really shows the impact of the bullet and how it came from behind. I think it's like frame 133 or 134 or something like that. So I think there's still more. I think there's still more plot twists between now and the election day. I just, the story is more than done.
My theory is still possible. I mentioned it to Brutus not last time, the week before, that we could yet have another assassination, but actually of Joe Biden. Again, if any of the security service are listening, I'm just theorizing here.
Well,
But we could have a situation where Biden, gets his in, and actually they do it this time, and it's more like a JFK thing with Kamala having a Jackie Kennedy moment with Biden's brains splattered all over her, and then she gets like this moment of, so.
Well, I do
still
think
play
they
out.
want her. They want her in office before the election because they need. If they're truly going with Kamala, which I doubt, but if they are, I think they need her in office for a few months so people can just get acclimatized, and so the whole idea of her being a president isn't shocking. So it's sort of they have to introduce this concept early, and therefore, to your point. He at the very least needs to leave office, and he'll either go voluntarily or, involuntarily, in the manner that you suggest. So everything's on the table.
Yeah, incumbent advantage is a thing. So yeah, I get that. It could be any form, of bringing her in resigning. There needs to be some iconic moment where she, is ushered in to steady the ship, takes control. There's we see her raising her hand, accepting the throne of power, and
then the media will just heap mountains and mountains of praise on her for doing relatively inconsequential, insignificant things, but they'll make it seem like she just crossed the Rubicon. And,
for saving America, for stepping in and saving the country from being without a president. Absolutely.
I don't know. I was literally trying to not obsess over politics this summer, and then they just kind of force fed me. It became unavoidable.
Well, you knew that Trump was going to draw you back in. I mean, this is the conspiracy theory, isn't it? So, I mean, let's be clear. We don't believe this because I know somebody who's lost their channel by claiming that it's all fake and gay. But but either way, Trump was going to draw you back in. Now, this is just like the Trump phenomenon. And part of this, I think, is what Richard Spencer decried, what he hates about that Trump is this is greater than himself. He is this phenomenon, and
the story is about Trump. It's either you like him or you hate him, but either way, the story is about Trump.
Yeah, and it's megalomania. It's a cult as well.
It is a cult, but also hating him is also a cult.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I don't know. This couldn't have been scripted.
Did you see the people at the RNC wearing the plasters on the ear? I mean, that's crazy.
Were they really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, have you not seen it?
Wow,
Yeah,
no.
Retail.
I feel I should wear one myself now. Like an earring.
Luckily, I don't engage directly with like retail politics. You know, I have a more critical distance now.
Here, Claire, I'm offering an image. Jord in the chat say, look at that, look at that. I mean, what is going on? This is a religion, isn't it?
I want one too. It's like a cross, right? It's a cross.
Oh god. You know, I went to a Trump rally in 2020. Trump wasn't there, but it was a rally in support of Trump. This is during the sort of the pre-January 6th run-up, you know, where there was all these challenges to the results and so forth. So they had these rallies in support of the recount effort, effectively. And these are the people that were there. There's no Twitter. I felt very weird there. Just they weren't my people, even though I was supporting Trump. So you didn't make it to, you went to the U.S. and you basically stayed in the Nevada desert. You just didn't get out. Did you get to some place?
Yeah. Well, Elliot, I mean, it's 14 days, so it's not many. We booked 6 in Vegas, 6 nights at Planet Hollywood Casino, and then plan to do a drive out. And the thing about it is, I mean, there's not much around there. Las Vegas really is in the middle of nowhere, and you have to understand, to us, driving is a lot. To you guys, you drive, and it's not much to you, but to us it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, you rented a car, right? You hired a car, as you say.
Yes, I did. One second, I'll just...
So you could have gone to Lake Tahoe. You should have driven north. And Lake Tahoe's up in the mountains. It's a lot cooler, and there's a lake, and it's beautiful. And it could have been very enjoyable, I think. But anyway. I've only been to Vegas for 3 days. By the third day,
I'm back.
I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I was so happy to be home.
Why? What didn't you like about it?
I just didn't like it's like a shopping mall on steroids. Everything about it is fake. Everything about it is overpriced. And there's just this air of desperation that kind of hangs in the air. It's just hard to explain, but there's nothing vaguely resembling normal human interaction there. Everything is commercialized. Every aspect of it is about money. Winning money, spending money. Didn't like it at all. So.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was great. But like I say, Lake Tahoe, I had to look at it, and because I was speaking in Luke Ford's chat when you were on, and I was sat in a Las Vegas hotel room at the time, and you said, go to Lake Tahoe. So I looked it up on the maps. That was something like a 10-hour drive.
I thought it was only a 5-hour drive from Vegas.
No, I think 9 or 10 as I remember.
You can go really fast, though, in Nevada. There's like the speed limit is, I think, 75, but you can go 85. You could get there fast.
Yeah. I took advantage of some of that, but it came out like a 9 or 10 hour drive, and this kind of, if you think on a holiday, on a vacation, that's like an entire day just driving. So yeah, I mean, it's easy for you Americans. You Americans think nothing of like driving an entire day just to like go to work, which is really bizarre to us. You know, it's
All right, hold on. I'm having a work issue. I'm gonna have to pause. I'm gonna have to bow out for a sec. All right, I'll be listening,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna be muted.
okay. Yeah. Elliot's doing tech support. Hello, tech support. Have you tried turning it off and back on again? Have a look at the back. Is there any paper in it? No.
Yeah, I'm looking at Lake Tahoe. It does look nice. I would like to visit every state in America.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the cost, isn't it? It's the
Yes, I know.
prohibitive cost. I mean, how much money do you need to do something like that? I mean, so
Yeah, I suppose you know really it'd be, I don't know, 100 days. I mean it would be okay. It depends on how long. I
Well,
was just thinking
yeah,
country city for 50 states.
yeah, but if you're always traveling, you don't get to see anything. So this is like the compromise that you have to make, and it almost feels wrong to spend money on a hotel that you're just going to sleep in and then be gone the next day. Almost feels like a waste.
There's tricks you can do in Lake Tahoe. You can join a ski club, and you can get a room for $20 a night in Lake Tahoe. So I'll be right back.
It's actually cheaper staying in Las Vegas than in the areas outside of Las Vegas. This might sound counterintuitive, but staying in one of the bigger hotels, I guess, because I mean, it's not cheap. I mean, there are some cheap dirtbag hotels, but any of the main the main hotels, you can get them for like $120 a night. But where we went, which was where Monument Valley is, this is where we took the trip to. We stayed just outside of Monument Valley in like some kind of inn place, just like 20 miles out of Monument Valley in Utah or wherever it is. And that place was like a dirt motel, but that was something like $200 a night. So it was more expensive to do that than just to stay in Las Vegas, basically.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Mount Rushmore? I just have a desire to visit Mount Rushmore.
I haven't, no. From my understanding, it's one of these things that are, in fact, disappointing. From my understanding, it's quite small. So it's not that impressive. When you get there, you're like, oh, is that it?
Yes, and I suppose there's not much there either. So I guess they made a tourist site out of those mountains.
Yeah, and the other thing
Yes.
is, which you never anticipate, when you get there, there's like 500 other people there all taking photos in the only place where you can take photos. So you never end up like getting that like probably iconic shot just of you with the Mount Rushmore behind you. You've got, probably like, I don't know, 20 Indians around you at the same time, all in your photograph or whatever. This is this thing with tourist places. They're never what they live up to be.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how they would do such a thing. The engineering feat required, or is there some simple thing that allows them to just mechanically recreate the features of these presidents?
See, next year we'll get Claire, Stephen, and Luke to come to San Francisco, and then we'll all get in my car. It's
To Lake Tahoe.
No, we'll drive north. You got to drive the Northern California coast. And
How
have
wonderful.
seafood dinner along the way. It's quite nice.
Ugh,
I like seafood.
You don't like
Wait.
seafood?
no. It's
even-
bugs of the sea. There are some bugs on land and some bugs in the sea, and I don't like either.
They're quite nice to eat, those lobsters and things. Is it lobsters that you like?
Yeah, lobsters are insects. They're basically insects, but a nice
Well, the
nice salmon.
arachnids.
Nice bit of salmon is quite nice. No?
Mm.
Now, there's a seafood restaurant in my block, a couple blocks away, and it's very popular.
Mhm.
And it's popular because they give you, it's a small place, so you have to wait in line, but
Mhm.
they just give you glasses of wine while you're waiting, for free.
Ah.
So you can sit there and chit chat and have a nice glass of white wine, as you're waiting to get in.
Mhm.
So I did this, and the last time I did this, I had some clam chowder. Clam, is that just an American thing, or is that universal?
Mhm.
Clam chowder is.
It's white and creamy
Yes.
made with potatoes. Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Mm.
butter, cream, seafood. It's tasty, but it's just fat. It's just fatty and mucus producing. So I had a bowl of clam chowder, and no sooner had I left, I just immediately had to throw up. And I just
Oh
threw up in the street while all these people drinking wine waiting to get in were watching.
no! Was it something in the chowder?
It was just too much. It was just too much cream all at once,
Oh right.
And you know how congested I am naturally anyway. And you have to understand that there's this persistent fog here, so that sort of adds to the effect of the congestion.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my last experience with seafood in a restaurant.
Right. Yeah, I quite like.
But
Well,
go ahead.
this is the thing, Elliot. You've forsaken your Jewish roots, and in the Bible, it told you these lessons: don't eat this fucking shellfish or whatever, and that's what it was telling you about. You see,
Yeah, true enough. True enough.
the warnings were there all along.
Yes, I've strayed from the path. I'm a Michelin. So, I can't stop checking Twitter because I'm in suspense.
Were you always so into Twitter? I thought you
It's
were.
gotten better. I have to say, it's become the place for news.
For
because-
people like us.
Yes, you get news from your own community, and it's just such a better way to consume news. It just feels like you're participating more, It feels like you're
Yes.
actually part of the story at some small level.
Yes.
So, for instance, Netanyahu just arrived, and neither Kamala nor Joe greeted him.
This is what I told you. This is the Richard Spencer analysis, Elliot. I mean,
Yeah.
So who greeted him? Surely he wasn't expected to make his way.
Some lower official, I guess. But
well, what is he actually in America for? What's he there for?
He's
He's due to
probably-
get standing ovations, isn't he?
Well, usually he does.
Well, I think he's trying to shore up support for the old Gaza war because he knows. He knows that the Democrats have to placate the Islamic. There's a big Muslim population in Michigan, outside of Detroit. Michigan is a very key swing state, so they actually punch above their weight because they just happen to be in one of the states that could tip the election. So I think Biden was trying to waffle. He was trying to sort of make overtures towards the Muslim community, and I think he placated them a bit too much. And so I think Bibi had to fly here and enforce some discipline. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's
What time is it there?
interesting.
Oh, it's like 10 o'clock at night for you over there.
10 to 11.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I feel like I'm not.
You need to get back to Twitter, don't you? You need to get back to Twitter.
No, I just don't think I'm entertaining y'all. I don't think I'm.
And hit refresh. Oh, these are different streams to the Luke Ford stream, Elliot. We can have natural pauses here. It doesn't matter. This is Claire Core show. Nobody even listens.
So what's your next move, Stephen? What's your next move? You're gonna. You're not streaming quite as much as you used to. I noticed.
No, I go in I have these creative bursts.
Yeah.
And then I give up. I'm also like things are changing. I mean, I'm still a young man. People don't realize how radically, lives change year to year at my age, and I don't know. Like I was telling part of it. I was telling Claire earlier. Like my dog is like
I heard that.
it's yeah. So I can't do those kinds of streams anymore. I also don't want the last memories of my dog on my YouTube channel to be like at death's door, So
Yeah.
I think I've thought about it. I thought maybe I should just leave it where the last time that I had Buddy on was whenever that was, just that, as he was normal.
Yeah, man. The pain of pets, like dogs, are so personable. They have so much personality. I think you bond more closely with a dog than you do a cat. Cats have this aloof distance that makes them a little easier to deal with losing. But not my cats.
Yeah.
They're charmers, I got to tell you.
Well, you say that, Elliot, but if you have a heart attack in your apartment and they don't find you for a couple of days,
Yes,
the cats are going to eat you, starting with your eyeballs and your lips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yum yum.
Not my cats. They'll drink the Kool-Aid. They'll offer.
They'll call the emergency service.
Oh, that's grim thoughts. Grim thoughts.
Yeah. Where's a dog won't? A dog won't. But maybe that's
a dog won't really.
Thing.
Are we sure?
Apparently not.
They get hungry too.
No, lots of cat ladies are found with their
No. You know what?
Face half eaten off.
Dogs start barking and they'll draw attention, and people will come to their aid. Right?
Maybe that's part of it too.
Cats really can't bark. They can meow a little bit, but they can't really project the way a dog can. Waiting for some good news, waiting for some. Something's gonna break.
It has.
Like
it
what?
has already. And I think I'd like to get that T-shirt for only $9.99.
When
in
are you going to
black.
wear it, Claire? Where are you going to wear it?
Oh, just around that, just at home, under
Is
my pajamas.
is your average UK NPC, are they as triggered by Trump as the American women are? Or
Well,
Oh, I
I
don't
was
think so.
really annoyed with my WhatsApp group when they didn't even mention Trump after the attempted assassination. And I just wanted to say something, and I didn't want to be offensive. And then Stephen had this great meme of this female security guard doing the dishes in her yellow rubber gloves, and somebody said "lol," and I was happy. But I was going to say things like, "Is it every day that a presidential candidate gets shot at? Did it not happen?"
hey, Claire, what is your relationship with Curious Gazelle? Are you two chummy or not?
Well, I guess we have two kinds of. I guess I was quite rude about her the other day, and
Oh no.
I don't know. I mean, these days I find myself, going into people's spaces and streams and telling people to shut the fuck up, and I don't know. It's just maybe I'm going a bit over the top now, and
Well, her stuff
Yes.
seems to be promoted to me. I always see it on Twitter. She does seem to have a lot of streams on Twitter or spaces on Twitter. But they seem to talk about UK politics.
no, I know. It's so I go in and basically say, well, why don't you talk about something that matters? And then she say, oh, it's about secular. And it's like, no, it's not secular Quran. So just talk about something else that matters. And she likes talking about Rory Stewart as if he were symbolic of something or other. And that drives me
Who's
crazy.
Rory Stewart? I don't know.
Oh, just some idiot Etonian that once threw his hat in the leadership contest, but who is really the ugliest man in the world. And I would have been so depressed to have that ugly man be British Prime Minister, because just looking at him just makes me want to, I don't know, bang my head on my desk or something.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I think a lot of people are just wasting time talking nonsense, and then I kind of went a bit mad and said, look, these saints around you, they're just using you as cover. So that
Wow.
the security services will just assume they're completely harmless because they're Sims, because they have their agenda dictated to by a crazy bitch, or words to that effect.
She does have some interesting things to say here and there, though. I think. I mean,
Curious Gazelle.
yeah, I know. You ran into her one time. She was rather rude.
Oh yeah, the Pakistani bird with autism.
But
Who
she
likes
was
to ask Luke
like
Ford.
she's a former Muslim. She's no longer Muslim. Is that what's going on?
Well, she's agnostic now.
Hmm.
But
She's
yeah,
just probably a bitch. Just probably a bitch in real life. This is the thing. She's a bit weird and she's looking for an edge. She's probably a clout chaser. She's looking to be edgy online.
but all these men, these middle class men,
What I
they're using her as a kind of, we're okay because there's a woman in our space, so we can't be getting up to anything much,
what
because
I couldn't get over, Claire, do you remember? What I couldn't get over, and I was messaging you privately about this, was when Curious Gazelle was talking to Luke Ford, and she kept bringing the conversation back to his penis. She wanted to ask him about his nofap. And I was saying, Claire, this is fucking disgusting. I mean, what a slag. She's literally, and Luke Ford was like
was
lapping it
lapping it.
up. You know what Luke is like when a woman's talking to him. He has his brain just fucking switches off. He doesn't see what he doesn't realize anything. I mean, it's just typical guy like, but. I mean, she was just, tell me about your nofap, Luke, and he's like, oh, yes, well,
Well,
She couldn't have been laying it on any more thick.
Well, she made these appearances on Luke's show, maybe 2 or 3 back to back to back, and they were having these extended conversations, and then she just disappeared. So, it seems to like Luke seems to attract some new blood to the stream, right? And then they eventually fade away, And there's
she probably didn't get any simps out of it. This is the thing. She'll probably expected to get a bunch of simps on her Twitter or in her email inbox or whatever. Probably expected to get something out of it, and she didn't get anything out of it. And so she realised she went down like a lead balloon. And then so what else is there to come on and ask Luke about his masturbation again?
Didn't Luke have that Hindu bird who was very attractive? That everybody went goo goo gaga over.
Oh, this is like a year or two ago.
Disappeared.
A couple of years ago.
Did?
Yes.
Yeah, what was her name? I forgot her name.
It's Senorita or something.
She was Hindu, I remember. Like a mother was a teacher, and she was very high achieving.
Is it Margarita?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
That's one thing that Spencer and Johnson have a problem with now are these high-achieving Indian Americans.
Yuppies. These yuppies.
Yeah, and they've really got to be in involvement. Of course, Johnson says that they're spies, which is kind of ridiculous.
For Netanyahu.
Or, they're part of this labyrinth of spies that always include Israel. Always.
Yeah. Everything is.
There's always another country or two thrown in. And I can sort of understand where they're coming from, because there's sort of they're always there. There's a particular type. They're skilled, they're competent, they're polite, but at the same time they're just not American, and it's sort of
the VVEX.
The VVEX, exactly. And there's nothing you can really put your finger on, but you just don't feel like you're all on the same team, And it's kind of a shame, I don't want to take it out on them or anything, but
well, maybe Ann Coulter said it exactly.
What did she say?
What she was just saying, you walk the walk and talk the talk, but I can't vote for you because you're Indian. She actually said it.
Yeah, well, it's like okay. So you're years ago in San Francisco, right? You'd have all of these old buildings, right? And these buildings were connected to bits and pieces of American history and lore, right? And so the city sort of had a certain feeling and a certain character that was tied to history. Like Mark Twain used to live here and so forth. And this is where the gold rush people, where the boats sank. There was all kinds of local lore that made being in the city sort of it had a richness to it, right? But now everything just seems like real estate. They're just apartments and they rent for this amount and they're close to this restaurant, or, they're just a bunch of real estate attributes that have nothing to do with the history. And this is that sort of invisible. And another thing that used to go on in San Francisco, there would just be a lot of street performers, they were good. They would play music on the street and people would support them. And there was just a big artistic culture, which is now gone. It's been replaced by tech culture. And so that sort of absence is just now felt. Oh, hold on, I'm getting another work thing. Or I'm gonna have to mute. Sorry.
Hello?
Hi, Vincent.
Vincent.
You're talking about Vivek Ramaswamy?
Yeah, what's your thoughts?
What about him? Vivek, first of all, he was part of that Shabtai society in Yale or Harvard. It was a secret Jewish society that had connections to Chabad, and Cory Booker, who promotes the Noahide laws, is a founder of it. So I don't know what he's doing with the Shabtai society. He's basically just a Trump shill. He's basically just Trump shilling. And I'm surprised Trump didn't make him his vice president.
Well, probably because he's too Trumpian. I mean,
Too
part of the
young.
analysis. Well, part of the analysis, as I was saying to Elliot Blatt, is that JD Vance comes with the technocrat money, the PayPal mafia money, the Peter Thiel money, and the Elon Musk money. But also, I mean, JD Vance is kind of bland. He's not going to upstage Trump. Somebody like Vivek was like, I mean, the Richard Spencer analysis is that he's fake. Okay, that he's fake, that it's all like for attention, for self-aggrandizement, for self-empowerment. But in many ways, Vivek's campaign was leaning more into Trumpianism than Trump himself.
Yeah.
He goes on about the
Hey, I've got to drop. I'm sorry, y'all.
All right, Elliot.
we'll
Good to
to you
talk.
soon. All right.
Good to talk.
Yeah.
Bye,
Talk
Elliot.
soon. All right, take care. Bye.
I'll be back in a minute.
Vivek probably wouldn't have brought in anyone new, but I don't see JD Vance bringing in new people.
Well, he's got connections in the armed forces, being an ex-marine, right? So if people steal the election again, he might be doing something about it. That's what I think he's also useful for.
Why can't a big comic just come and kill us all?
Because people still want to live to see another Trump presidency and get their revenge on the Democrats. Right? That's what they want.
Their revenge on the Democrats. Well, let's see what happens, because, don't you think Kamala is more likely to win than Biden?
Well, yes, but she still won't win. I really don't think Trump is beatable now. I don't think anybody can be produced to win over him. I mean, surely you say your husband's a Trump supporter. Wasn't he delighted by that moment on the 14th of July, was it?
What, when they shot at Trump?
Yeah, and then the whole, fist pump and everything, the excitement that followed from it. I mean, don't people feel that Trump is going to win and is in fact unbeatable? I mean, like E. Michael Jones, he the language he used, he compared Trump to Napoleon, to Alexander the Great, and called him God's anointed one. It was really quite, superlative.
Ugh.
Why are you making these noise? Okay, I think you're really lucky to have somebody like that when all we have is Eurotrash. That's all Europeans have, Eurotrash.
What you're saying is he's this grand now, like religious icon, though, Claire, like we were talking about before. But really, at the heart of it, I mean, again, the Richard Spencer analysis is that Trump is just like a giant narcissist. that it's all for naught. You know, that Trump ultimately only cares about himself. And so you have all this energy, this every, this entire movement of people, but ultimately it's hollow at its core, because Trump at the end of the day is just a grand narcissist. I mean, any rational analysis, anybody who's not like won over into this religious cult, can look at like his speeches. If you listen to any of his rally speeches, and I mean, they ramble as much, almost as much as a Biden fucking speech, to be brutally frank. And they're filled with just like platitudes and
No,
nonsensical
the moments
stuff.
where we're supposed to say we're supposed to chant along with, USA, USA,
Yeah, but it's all just this
lock her up.
like absurd rhetoric, and we're
But that's
gonna
what people.
win, and
That's the problem.
we've been winning, and in fact we've been winning better than ever.
You get
In
so
fact,
tired of
we're all,
winning.
it's
Yeah, but that's what people like. People want something upbeat. We don't want, to be told we're losers and we're tired of losing.
yeah, of course, but
And I think Spencer is basically being paid to be negative about Trump. Lots of people are being paid to be negative about or positive about certain things on social media.
I don't buy that. I mean, I know that that's like the Colin Liddell analysis. I don't think that's true.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But the point is that I think Trump would want to do well for his own sake. So Caleb Maupin said, Kamala Harris will be terrible because she's so damaged and she's a narcissist. And he says, yes, I know Trump is also a narcissist, but he is such a narcissist that he wants to be a good president. Ha ha ha. And he's not a crazy person who's damaged by his broken childhood and has daddy issues, which Kamala has. I think I know what your problem is. You dare not hope.
No, there's some there to that. He's the most presidential candidate that there is. He's an icon now. He's a legend. He's larger than life.
God's anointed one.
I get it, that people do. And here's another thing, right? That for the Republican Party, they need to elect him, because if they don't, then in another 4 years, they're going to have this all over again. Trump's going to be running again as an 82-year-old. So the only way for the Republican Party to get rid of Trump, to move past Trump, is like through Trump, to elect him. If they don't elect him this time, in another 4 years, he's still going to have this grasp, this grip on the Republican Party, and we're going to be doing this all over again. And God forbid if he lost then, we'd have an 86-year-old Trump doing it again in yet another 4 years. So the Republican Party, its only way out of Trump is through him.
Yeah, and I think people would like that. People would prefer that. So Vincent, what is your problem with Trump?
What's my problem with Trump? Well, I don't like his stance on Zionism. I don't like his closeness to Israel. I don't know what his 2025 agenda is and what it says about, to what degree are you going to stop teaching gay studies in school? I think children, there's a difference between like showing sodomy to children versus like gay history. Those are two very different things.
Well, perhaps children don't need to know about these things until they're not children anymore. Mhm.
Well, I maybe we don't need sodomy books, but gay history, yes.
Okay, so how would you tell gay history? When did
Well,
it begin?
the persecution of homosexuals since the beginning of time. You know, the persecution, the stigma of homosexuality, and, you know, famous homosexuals in history, and the gay rights movement, and, you know, gay marriage and how that all came about. Yeah, I think children should learn about that.
Well, I guess now they do.
Yeah, and I think that should stay. I know there's inappropriate books in the schools that I don't agree with either. I mean, if they're showing like oral sex between children and adults, then I don't support that. No.
Well, it's sad that children should have their innocence taken away so very early these days. They should be shown, I don't know, given lessons on anal sex at elementary school. I mean, these things can't be undone or unthought. So what is this eyes thing? What's that supposed to mean? Because I've
So
never.
yeah. So Elon Musk put this laser eyes profile picture up the moment that Joe Biden announced his resignation.
But where did this come from? Is it from a movie or something? I know a lot of people put this on their avatar, but I'm not sure about the reference. I mean, is it from a movie or something?
I don't know how to explain it. No, I don't know the origin of it actually. Um, It emerged from movies where the characters' eyes began to glow when their superpowers were about to activate.
Right.
So the implication is like Elon Musk has been activated. And he announced that he was going to fund Trump's campaign to £45 million a month when JD Vance was announced. He did the laser eyes when Biden dropped out. I mean, he's fully gone on board with now electing Donald Trump, basically. So, how do you search someone's tweets on here?
You put you do the search on their on the phone. It works a bit differently, doesn't it? You go to their timeline and then you type whatever it is that you want that they
Yeah.
posted, but it works a bit differently on computer for some reason.
So Trump from at Elon Musk. Search. I mean, look here, we have this. I fully endorse President Trump. Let's do the latest. Trump, Vance, let's fucking go. He's posted this once, twice, 3 times. They just want a puppet that will perform better. The political machine will remain in power. What's different about Trump is that he isn't a puppet of either side, so real government reform is possible. Trump, Vance, let's fucking go. I mean, he's fully activated. Yeah. Where's Vincent? What's he doing? He's back.
I'm here. I just wish I could get revenge on that fucking dad son bro party. If I had billions of dollars, I'd like pass out. I'd have like volunteers pass out flyers accusing them of like spreading STDs and stuff.
Why?
I'm just angry at them. They're trash.
How many sex parties have you been to?
Oh God, countless. I used to run sex parties. Don't you remember?
Yes, but I still. Okay,
Why don't you get back into doing that again?
Well, because I was running hotel sex parties and not enough people would show up, and I wasn't making enough money, and I'd have to shell out, money for the hotel and organize the whole thing. And I would spend hours and hours and hours contacting people, and then hardly anyone would show up. And if they did, they complained. So,
What did they complain about?
Oh, I don't know, that there weren't enough people there, or they didn't like it and didn't find anyone, or whatever it was that they were complaining about, And people would send me fake pictures, and then they would show up and they would be hideous. And then I'd have to get fights with them at the door. People would send me pictures and they would show up, 60 pounds heavier than what they showed me,
Would you say you're too fat to come in?
Well, one time I did, yes.
And then what did they say?
Well, they said, you invited me. And I said, well, I didn't even recognize them. I said, who the fuck are you? I didn't invite you to my party. And they were like, yes, you did. And I was like, no, I did not. And I slammed the door. And then they, I don't know. I just don't even want to know. Disgusting. Oh, I'm so depressed. And I had
to help you, be the bouncer and stuff.
No, I was the bouncer and the host and everything.
Right. That must have been very demanding.
It was, and I hardly got to have any sex because I was running the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think you're even meant to have sex if you're the host.
Yeah, no. So I got tired of it. It was basically a money issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to open up a gay sex club.
In a fixed venue, right? It's going to be the same place. It's not going to be, everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah, no, I'd like a fixed venue and have a sex club, and that's it. And everyone get out of my way. And I would make better sex clubs. I would make better porn. I'm like so disappointed in the sex culture. It's like so just trash.
But are there clubs already now in your city?
Not in my city, but in New York, there's some clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent. So obviously, I don't know. I'm going to feign ignorance here about porn, but I do know there is a genre of porn where people pretend to be like casting agents for movies. So why don't you set yourself up as if you are a pornographer who running a studio and put out some ads looking for people to come in, and then you just because people will come to apply, they'll think it's like a paid job, and then you can say you have to put them through the casting couch phase. This is terrible, I guess, but basically, if you advertise it as that, you will get people coming expecting a job off it, and then you tell them you get back to them, but they have to show you what they've got for you to be able to put them, see if you've got any work for them. Well, how about that as an idea?
Yeah, as a porn director, moving forward.
Pretend you've got work for them, but they have to show you what they've got.
Yeah, I could try scamming people. I
Or
can try
actually make the,
people.
or just make the porn movies. Actually make the porn movies. Go ahead and make them.
Ugh, yeah, well, how I have to pay people to do that, and I should have just done it when I was younger, and I'm really disappointed in myself because I'm usually the type of person that doesn't care what people think about me. But, I let society bully me into not doing it. So,
Yeah. Well, maybe God was looking out for you.
no, I really don't think so. Well, I've already discussed how neither Satan nor God wants me. Say what?
Yeah.
What the fuck? This is I don't understand. Why doesn't Satan help me? I'm gay. I try to get people to leave Christianity. I attack all the godly institutions of society, and Satan won't fucking help me. He doesn't want me.
So what your idea is that you should be like rich and famous in return for all of this, I suppose, if Satan was real.
Yeah, if Satan was real, I
Yeah.
should be rich and famous.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Satan
that's a
would
good
say
idea.
that he has no requirement to reward you in this
Well, then
way.
why should I worship him? Why should I do his bidding? Why should I work for him if it's going to get me nothing but trouble and unhappiness?
Because doing what you want leads to unhappiness, and he's already, done that. Because, I mean, okay, look, people just want to do what they want anyway, so
Okay,
it's
but
not that hard.
he helps some people and not others. Lots of people doing Satan's work have everything in their corner and are not unhappy.
Or maybe you don't know that they're unhappy, they're just, putting up a brave front. But
Well,
actually,
they're not unhappy enough to be so depressed that they can't function. If you're a functional person waking up every day, you have to have some serotonin in your brain. People don't wake up every day and are powerhouses of energy, because they're depressed. That doesn't happen.
well, you seem quite
No, you're
energetic.
right.
Well, I'm not energetic, but bring me somebody with high dopamine and serotonin levels and, tell me they're depressed. They're not.
What time do you wake up?
I wake up whenever the fuck I want to wake up.
Which is?
Like anywhere between 8 and 11.
Do you get straight out of bed, get ready, get dressed?
Absolutely not.
Or no.
I sit around, I drink coffee, I fall back asleep, I look at my phone, I get, whatever, irritable, get into fights with gay sex party owners online and stuff like that.
A day in the life
Well-
of Vincent Bruno. How many people have you been arguing with about sex parties? Just the one, right?
Yeah, just the one. I mean, unless when I was running it and people gave me flack.
So I guess
Okay.
it wasn't really that bad. I mean, I bet the people who you turned away were very offended.
Yeah, they must have been very offended. I didn't do it often, but sometimes I had to.
Okay, I've got it. I've got it. What you need. You're not going to do it, but what you need is you need to get a spin bike, an exercise bike, and as soon as you wake up in the morning, you need to get on it and pedal for like 20 minutes, and this will solve all your problems.
Yes, I think that's a great idea because you will change your consciousness just by 20 minutes of exercise, and it will
You'll
energize
lose
you.
weight. You'll lose weight. You'll be energized. It will do the mind good. Healthy body, healthy mind.
Yeah, whatever.
So all you need is invest in an exercise bike.
No, what I
It's
need
low
nothing.
impact.
Coke habit.
You can't afford a Coke habit.
No, that's
Yeah,
the
but-
problem. I can't because I have no money and I can't afford a Coke habit and I can't afford a sex club, and so that's my problem.
But you can afford a one-time investment on an exercise bike.
Well, I don't want to.
People are-
which will open doors to other things.
I don't want.
People are selling them all the time. Look on Facebook Marketplace. Fat women buy them and sell them all the time. Cheap.
I've got one.
There you go.
It'll make you feel virtuous, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And then you'll feel purposeful. And then it could open doors to...
It really
sex
does. It
clubs.
really does. Working out at home is the solution to people who are, who don't feel good about their bodies, because the barrier is to like go out and do it in a gym or go out and do it on the streets. You need to get started at home.
So you get used to a routine.
We've solved Vincent's problems. I'm happy.
Yeah, right.
All right, Claire. Well, I've been on here gassing with you for 2 hours at least, so I'm going to go now. It's been good talking to both of you.
Yeah. Have a good one, Stephen.
Yes, thank you for
All right.
coming, Stephen.
All right. Catch you both later. Good to catch up with Elliot too later.
Yes. Bye.
Elliot, was that Elliot Blatt that was on?
Yes. Yes, that was Elliot Blatt.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know which Elliot was the Boo Jew, but obviously I figured it out when you brought up that he's Jewish and left. And
So what you doing the rest of today?
well, I'm not going to the sex party. It's already started. I just looked at myself in the mirror and I said I cannot bring myself to go in and present myself before.
Would you have gone alone?
No, not looking the way I look. No, I don't want to go out. I'm tipping the scales. I'm not fat. I'm just not skinny. I'm not skinny is the problem.
I mean, nobody's going to turn you away and say you're too fat.
No,
Are they?
No, they won't. But I'm just unhappy with my body, so.
Well, it'll give you a goal to work towards, and when you get there, you'll be happier, won't you? You think you'll have a sense of achievement, but you have to get that bike.
I have a fit board that I don't use, which is even easier than a bike. I'm not a fucking exerciser. It's not. It's not my thing.
What's a fit board?
A fit board is like one of these things you stand on it and then you twist. And you twist your abdomen over and over and over again. And whatever makes you lose weight, supposedly.
It doesn't sound as energetic as a bike.
No, it's not as energetic as a bike.
Oh, you do need, something that's fast moving and that would work up a bit of a sweat for just 20 minutes.
I need to be on meth for a week.
Oh, nonsense. You can't afford it.
For a week, I can.
Yeah, but then what happens after the week is over? Then you'll...
Well, I would have lost 10 pounds. I can go on a meth diet once a month.
Oh, I don't recommend it.
I can go on a meth diet once a month. I think I could really handle that and be happy.
You must stop chasing happiness because it will always elude you. It comes from within.
Oh, please. I don't want to hear this bullshit.
Well, it's true, though.
No.
It's true. It's your belief system that keeps you happy or unhappy, right? You just need to reprogram your mind.
If you're able to just believe in anything, of course you'll
Yes.
I could believe that the goddess Isis is protecting me and I would be happier.
I mean, you know this thing about the Abrahamic God. His existence cannot be disproven.
Neither
That
can
is
goddess
also-
Isis. Can you disprove the goddess Isis?
Well, nobody seriously believes the.
No, but can you disprove her?
No, of course not. I can't disprove the non-existence of pink unicorns, but nobody seriously argues about these things, or fairies, or leprechauns, etc., or aliens.
Well,
But
no. Aliens, you can physical things you can kind of assume. A leprechaun is supposedly a physical thing, and a leprechaun has never been recorded on all of human history. But Isis is a goddess who is immaterial, or at least does not take a visible physical form. So she's different. You can't say, well, no one's ever seen Isis, because she's not meant to be seen.
well, okay then. But I mean, nobody takes her existence seriously.
So
but
what? Not everything is status. Not everything is a congeniality contest. Not everything is a popularity contest. Like some things, sometimes popular things are wrong. Popular theories are wrong. You know what I mean? Like, just because something's popular or not is not a reason to believe in it. You want to? Okay, fine. You want to take something seriously? Those temples in India to the goddesses are the most. They are the most visited things in India, more than mosques, more than churches, more than any of these things. The number one congregating hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people visit these things every year. These polytheistic deities that aren't even really polytheistic, but these deities have millions of followers in India. There's no proof.
yeah, but it doesn't need proof because people want to visit these places because they know lots of other people do it, and therefore it's all right for them to do it, and they don't feel weird and stupid for doing it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that popularity is, the Hindu deities, because there are a billion Hindus, they're not unpopular. They're not unpopular deities. So I could just say, well, look at these very popular deities. Like, can you disprove their existence, Claire?
No, I can't. But I mean, obviously, we only believe in the things we want to believe in. And for some reason, okay, I think I know why you wouldn't want to believe in God. Because
Which god?
would.
I don't believe in the goddess Isis either. And she doesn't tell me anything I don't want to hear.
Well, because you find it difficult to believe in Isis. But as for the Abrahamic God, he is the most.
I find it difficult to believe in him too. They're both the same thing. It's not about their message either. I mean, these polytheistic deities, I don't necessarily believe in them.
Yeah, but if it's useful and, Jews are supposed to have this protection and people are always going on about Jews, then I guess you could say that their power comes from either belief in him or his protection of them. So we don't know which it is. We can only speculate.
Yeah, well, I mean, so many people say the Jews don't have his protection anymore, and that's why they've been holocausted 5 million times.
Yeah, but they're still around and people keep complaining about them. So they obviously exist.
Oh, yeah, just getting your limbs cut off every 5 seconds, but I'm still around. I mean, I lost my whole family to the Holocaust, but I'm still around. Like, what kind of deity
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that?
and the Gentiles are still telling me that I control the world. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, well, their God is not very good to them either.
Okay, so basically they've been used to be made an example of. And therefore, it's not something to boast about. Nobody wants to be always made an example of. But it's like they don't even know. They don't even know that they're being made an example of because some people think, oh, we're so powerful. Everybody envies us and tells us that we control the world. But we don't really, or perhaps we do.
And it makes no sense that all the powerful people that they all complain about are liberal secular Jews who hate God. So why is God using liberal secular Jews?
Because they have the benefit of the group, because at least some Jews practice their religion. So the secular Jews get their... if nobody practiced Judaism, they'd all die off in a few decades.
Nobody cares about religious Jews except for me. Everyone complains about secular, liberal, atheist, gay Jews. And you're telling me that they're in their position because God is protecting them.
Because without the religious Jews, there would be no secular Jews. They just haven't made the connection. Imagine if there were no observant Jews. So these gay, these gay secular Jews would just not bother having children.
Okay,
And
but they're the ones that everyone's complaining about, and that their God is giving all the money and everything to, and all the power, and it makes no sense, Claire.
But the story is not over. Why do you talk as if the story is done and dusted, and you shut the book and it said the end? It's a continuing story.
You said the ones that everyone complains about are not people who are upholding God.
No, but they, as a group, will get collective punishment. That is always the rule, right? Because eventually, even if you're not responsible for the terrible things that were done in your name, you're going to get some blowback. Like, people like you did this, you did that. We hate you for your imperialism and your racism and your whatever it is. So even poor whites, they get the blame for the ruling classes, but then I guess that they also get some of the benefit of being an empire or being associated with this imperial race. So I guess it swings and roundabouts. But there is such a thing as collective punishment as well as a collective identity that might protect you or raise your status. I mean, what would you do if you were a Jew? Would you think, "Wow, I'm so lucky to have been chosen," or "I reject the whole thing"? I mean, I suppose it's attractive enough to hang on to if you're already religious, because then you'll be indoctrinated into thinking we have to keep it in existence because we're so important. Right, or well, we feel important because the Gentiles are always blaming us for controlling their lives. Perhaps we do. I mean, nobody really knows. I mean, aren't you often blamed for things that your group did?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, what did gay people do that were universally blamed for?
Well, I guess diseases, STDs, AIDS.
Yes, but I mean,
HIV.
most gay men don't have AIDS. Like, this is like, a fraction of the population. Like, let's see what percentage of gay men have AIDS.
Well, I mean, you blame heterosexual people for all kinds of things. So, but perhaps it doesn't matter as long as we have a group to identify ourselves with, right? I mean, this is really the problem. People don't know what group they belong to anymore, and if they do belong to a group, the group is behaving strangely. And obviously, this is going to upset the balance of everything. I mean, really, the truth is that if you want your group to continue, and you understand it, you have to reproduce, and that's why you have all these ideas of gay people being parents, because you see the necessity of producing the next generation. Which I guess if you weren't gay, you would think, well, we just marry and have children earlier and with more children. And I think that's it. It really is that simple. And I suppose if we did believe in God, we would just be grateful for what we've managed to have so far that we found enjoyable, and not be saying, oh, it's not enough. I want this. I want that. I mean, surely that is the whole point of believing in God. We get our expectations lowered, that any opportunity of enjoyment is of unexpected enjoyment is a blessing and something we should thank God for. And that is the best way.
Well, yeah, I think that's easier for some people than others, especially if you have high expectations because you have a high IQ and are capable. Like, if you're able to imagine a better world, of course you're going to be depressed. If you're too dumb to imagine a better system, then you're not going to be depressed by this. And yeah, some people are so low, they're just like, oh, yay, I have like 5 minutes of happiness in my life and it was all worth it. Like, to an intelligent, needy person, that's not going to
You're
cut
cutting
it.
out.
Anyway, let me go because my
Well,
husband's almost.
you have to prove that your system. All right then. Thank you for coming.
I
Bye
have to prove
bye.
that I have to prove that my system is what?
Well, that it would work in theory as well as in practice. I mean, that's your obstacle, isn't it?
Mm.
You have to prove in theory that it will be better than the current one,
Well,
and
I
you
already
can't do
have
it.
the
So
theory, but it won't know. We won't know until it's practiced.
yeah, and you can't get it practiced until you become famous or something.
Yes, or if someone else spreads the idea.
Well, you don't know anybody who likes this sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't proposed it in a very official way yet.
Who would be interested? I guess the makers of artificial wombs. I guess you better write to them.
Yeah, well, I better write to them ASAP wherever they are. They did have
Mm.
a convention on it, but I missed that convention.
Well, find out the next one, then maybe attend it to make content. Where was it? Oh, Vincent's gone quiet. I think he was saying he was going to go anyway. So I guess I'll end the
Hello?
stream. Yes, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
roboting a little.
I don't know where it was, but it was about artificial wounds and castration.
Oh dear. Well, we wouldn't mind knowing a little bit more about that. When you
Yeah, let me look it up a little bit and find it again.
Okay. All right, I better let you go.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Bye
Bye.
bye.